Hi, I'm Nathan Passard. I can't believe I'm shooting this video. I genuinely I've sort of gone over a bit of what I'm going to say, but it's just going to be whatever comes out, and I'm going to try and make this whole video without showing who I'm talking about in the thumbnail, or even saying the name of the band. I don't know how I'm going to... Look at that grey sideburn. I don't know how I'm going to manage that, but let's see what happens. Again, this band, I don't want to be yet another guy to make yet another video about. The reason why I make a Hollies podcast is because, well, it's literally the only one in the world. I mean, a few people have made Hollies videos, and I encourage that. You know, I'm pleased about that. But no, this other group, it's like I've seen people do what I'm doing. They're in. I'm not trying to tart up my surroundings. You can see how grainy it is. I'm not using a microphone or nothing. You press record, you speak, and you stop. And I'm not going to name them, but there are some channels who do videos about this band, and they have thousands of views, thousands of them, and it's amazing how. But I still didn't really want to go down that route. To give you some context, it's important to know I was born in 1978, so all four of them were still alive. John, you know who John... I just have to say John, you know who that is. And I can say John without any, copyright or whatever. Was murdered when I was a baby. So I grew up with that. I've already talked about this. So what it means is that I was the perfect age for this thing called anthology. Now, anthology is a word in the dictionary. I can say anthology. Alright? And yeah, just being a teenager and going to school the next day. Oh my God, did you hear it? Did you see it? Because I was going to do this whole video talking about how I'm this weird kind of outcast in my school who likes this band, but it's not really true. There were other kids in my school who liked them, and we'd all get together and talk about them and that, and discuss like they do now on forums, really. But we used to, what solo album do you like, and what album cover should they have used for this and that and whatever. Anyway, so I grew up, so I'm at that age where I can remember the old world. I can remember sort of schools being like the Bash Street Kids, if that's a UK reference, a comic strip, a Beano comic strip. Schools were still like that when I was in school. I mean, that proper, like a completely old-fashioned world there, but embracing sort of the modern, I can't imagine my life without this phone, for example. So we can remember what it used to be like, but we weren't born into this technology, and I'm just at that age where so sort of forums got invented, YouTube and things like that, and podcasts and everything. And I finally thought, okay, finally, my kind of people. I'm alive. I'm at this age. I'm in this kind of a world. And then I just found that even in the world of this band, I'm still this weird, lone kind of free thinker who just is completely at odds with all of these people. Like, it's like they were all sent to some kind of brainwashing camp, and I somehow escaped it. And at the end of it, you come out and you go, you dismiss Stuart Sutcliffe. You think Peter Jackson is like the Messiah. You think that Mr. Moonlight and Wild Honey Pie are absolute travesties, and they're all like this. They're all the same, Oh, and whenever someone asks you if you could have any outtake in the world, you straight away it's Carnival of Light, which what they call they put a the in front of it. I can't believe my mouth is going to say this. I have to bleep it, but there's now footage of me saying this. I'm not going to say it. It's a song that they made about a fairground attraction, and it's on their 1968 album. It's a heavy metal record, and there's a version of it which runs for the number of minutes that Amy Winehouse, Jimi Hendrix, Kurt Cobain, Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, Brian Jones died. That minute version of I don't even want to say it, and it's like, guys, and they're all, and I was on a quiz recently, and I'm not going to slag them off because I'm a fan of their channels, but a lot of brilliant banter was kind of cut out and thrown away, and And yeah, it was their show, and it wasn't mine. I was just and I think I kind of see where they're coming from, but you could also be like Seinfeld about it, where you could be completely secure in yourself, and have the guest let them have like the best jokes, because well, I'm Seinfeld. I'm just going to be on again next week. I don't need to. But anyway, so I don't want that to be the only thing in the whole of YouTube existence of me associated with this band, because I consider myself quite an expert on them, and I'm normally, in all my close circle of friends, we all have debates about them, and we're equal. Actually, I don't want to say I'm the one who knows the most about them. There's stuff that they know that I never. And some of the stuff we say on Messenger is like, some of the minutiae we go into is podcast worthy stuff, and I wish we got sort of evidence of it, and there's other things with these sort of sheep that I knew that John co-wrote that song about a vehicle that goes underwater and is the colour yellow. Like, I knew that. I've known this for... How can no one know? And then when the box set came out of Revolver, I can say the word Revolver, when that came out, and all of these Mr. Moonlight bashing, Peter Jackson worshipping sheep fans were like, this is brand new information. It's like, no, it's not. I've known this for years. And there's other things like, God, I can't think of examples now, but they're so typical. I had loads before I pressed record, but like things like that. Paul's song for the Our World television transmission, it's Hello Goodbye. I know this. I've got evidence of this, and people don't seem to know this. They think it's Your Mother Should Know, don't they? Or another one. But anyway, stuff like that, and I do think So I'm getting to the point. I feel like these fans of this band completely dismiss... I'm not going to say in my opinion, I'm going to say their most important and significant year was 1962. And this just gets glossed over. These people who, they all bash Pete Best and stuff like that. It's like, there's so much more to it than just, he was rubbish or whatever. I don't think he was shown in the best light. Play me a tape of him playing a gig in Hamburg or the Cavern before you really judge. Loads of people... That audition, it was New Year's Day, okay? It was 10 in the morning. All of them were, Polydor about, he was so bad they had to take his bass drum away. No, Burt Camford is a very, very famous producer, and his thing, no matter who it was, it could be Buddy Rich, or it doesn't matter, he didn't like bass drums. He was like, don't care who you are, I'm taking the bass drum away. I mean, he liked him enough. He could have had a session player play the drums for the Polydor recordings, but no. So he just took the bass drum away because he does that for all of his recordings. Even the Tony Sheridan drummer from the Beat Brothers, you know what I mean? The stuff that exists of him, it doesn't show him in a good light. But there's no tapes of him. Well, okay, I'll get to that then. There is a tape of the Beatles at the Cavern Club, and my problem with fans, I just said their band's name. My problem with, you can see them there. My problem is they have no idea that a tape of them at the Cavern exists. And I would think if you really were a true fan of this band, the first thing you would think was, what did they sound like before they were famous in the Cavern Club with all their fans, and they were talking to them, they were doing weird. And that's another thing. I go to an open mic every night, and there's going to be someone doing To Make You Feel My Love, or Valerie, or whatever, or Zombie and stuff like. Or if I go and see a band playing, they're going to do Rock Me Mama Like a Wagon Wheel, or Bad Moon Rising, and that, or Wonderwall or something. That is cover songs to me. Or Hallelujah by Leonard Cohen, which, oh my God, Jolene by Dolly Parton, and they think they're the first people to do it, and hundreds of people do these songs, and that is cover songs to me. The expression, the word, the term cover songs means that to me. not what the Beatles are doing. These snobs who sort of grade them and mark them and deduct points because they're doing cover songs. It's like they're not. They're learning their craft. They're doing weird songs that no one else would ever have heard, and they're making their own versions of them. You know, Till There Was You is a Beatles song. Twist and Shout is a Beatles song. Long Tall Sally, Rock and Roll Music, all these things. And okay, I'm kind of sick of Twist and Shout, to be honest with you. It does get overplayed and overdone. So personally, I don't have to defend that song, but I will use it to prove my point. Like, these snobs, and some of them are great YouTubers. Some of them I really, I've been mates to them. I chat to them in the comments and they reply. The ones who bother to reply are very gracious, and even some of them think this. And I think, mate, what are you? Are you honestly saying, as a diehard fan of this band, can you imagine this band's first album without Twist and Shout on it? Like, you really think that? And there are holes in these people's opinions and arguments, and it's just ridiculous. So I always so my wish thing is, like, you can hear any outtake you want. The first thing I would think everyone would think would be the tape of them in spring 1962 in the Cavern Club. We want to hear that. I want to hear that, and I'm surprised that all of them don't. People don't even. Probably some are watching this and think, I don't know how this is good, because I don't know how I'm going to get this video out there. If people stumble upon it, great. If not, I don't know. But they probably don't even know that such a thing exists, and it's not on bootleg. Paul McCartney bought it from an auction house. I don't know if it's Christie's or Sotheby's or a different one. 1985 was it? It's quite early on he bought it. And he's had it since. Mark Lewison has heard it. He says, it sounds so bad that you can't even tell what song they're doing. Those are his words. I don't know if that's just a brush off, or I can't really imagine that being true. Mark, then, let's talk about it now. I'm a massive, massive, massive Mark fan. I have been since I was a kid. That Chronicle book and this whole video is based on a thing in the back of that called What They Played. That thing has fascinated me since I was a kid. Like, wow, what would a version of, John singing Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, George singing Dream When You're Feeling Blue, what would that have sounded like, and I've been dreaming about that and fantasizing it and that's what led me to, what this whole video was about. I'm calling this thing Always Be True after a Mark Lewison chapter, okay? And so I am a massive, massive fan of his. I look up to him whenever he's on being interviewed or anything. I devour it. I like, great, it's Mark. However, he's not the be-all and end-all, and he'll say that about himself. He's not very... the thing I like about him is that he's not selfish. Like, he wants other detectives to find things, and he'll name check them all. I think he's friends with them. And I'm a massive fan of a guy called David Bedford. Like, some of you might know who it is, a lot of people don't. The best way to describe it is David Bedford to Mark Lewison is like if you go and see a doctor and then you go and get a second opinion. That's David Bedford, and one of my favourite things about David is he sticks up for Pete Best. Mark is kind of anti-Best. I don't think Mark is an expert. He's a data expert. He's a serial number expert, a catalogue number expert, a documentation expert. But I don't, as far as I'm aware, I don't know if Mark is a musician. So he doesn't know about keys and stuff like that, or makes of guitar. Well, he'd look it up, and he'd know it. He'd research it. Whereas David Bedford is a drummer, and he probably plays the guitar too. So what he says about Stuart and about Pete is worth, you believe, it has some kind of gravitas, I can't think of words today. Credibility, and I've always thought that the company that's named after a fruit that, in America these fruits are red and in England they're green, and you bite into it, it's got a core in the middle. In my case, I've got sensitive teeth, so I sliced them. That fruit, the company could so easily... I've always thought this, whenever people have gone on about, I'm going to say some album names, where is the box set? And you know what they're going to say. It's It's galvanized and trainers are made out of them, or sneakers if you're American. You have them on the base of your shoe, and it's the type of music that James Brown makes, that. Oh, Rubber Soul, I can say Rubber Soul. I don't know why, I can say things. I'm going to show you pictures. I mean, if that doesn't get me, I'm not, well, I'll get to that. And I've always thought, well, if they're going backwards, if they did Sergeant Pepper first, didn't they? The White Album, then they did Abbey Road. I've forgotten where Let It Be comes in, where their box set of that, but they went back anyway and they did Revolver, so everyone thought, oh, they're going to do a Rubber Soul. I've always thought, and a dream, a fantasy of mine has always been, and for years now, is why don't Apple do a 1962 box set? 1962, for one thing, it's literally bookended with Treasure. You've got the Decca Audition, literally on New Year's Day, right at the end, Christmas and New Year, you've got the Star Club. So the Decca Audition is 15 songs, and forget about they're playing, Pete Best doing the same beat, John and Paul singing, sounding nervous, George guitar going plink plink or whatever, kind of sticky or whatever. You've got studio quality, a whole album there, and it's master tape studio quality stuff, sound quality wise. Let's just focus on that. You could release that, have that in this box set right at the end, have the Star Club tapes on there. 31, possibly 32 songs. I'll get to the 30-second one when I get to that bit. Have those, and then in between you've got their first single. You've got BBC stuff, radio stuff with Pete, radio stuff with Ringo, which isn't as well. That only recently surfaced. You've got them on television, audio of them. Again, we've only got like 30 seconds of this. The whole thing does exist, audio only. Sadly, you've got you've got what are they? You've got a rehearsal tape of them at the Cavern Club. Now, why that wasn't included on any anthology or anything like it exists, including an unreleased Lennon McCartney song, a thing called Cat's Walk. Again, fans have no idea, but people, this has been out since 1981 on bootlegs. And I mean, not to put people down, because one of my absolute best friends in the world, who's a massive giant expert, even he had never heard of this. I got another one who'd never heard of A Picture of You by George singing the song Picture of You by Joe Brown. He goes, what? I had no idea they did that. And I go, yeah, that's been bootlegged since, well, a very long time. Not everyone knows everything. That's why stuff like this needs to get made. Some people are down on 1962 stuff on purpose, and some people just plain don't know about it. I think it's a shame. The book Tune In, there are now diehard Beatles fans who go on Instagram and do memes and that, or they have a YouTube channel, who weren't even born when Tune In was published. And that's not me saying, oh, Mark, hurry up and write the second volume. I'm not one of those fans. I'm not one of those at all. I'm saying that more people should just get the first volume, or it should be reprinted or replugged or something. Because some of the myths that were dispelled in that, is it dispelled or destroyed? The myths that were destroyed in that have since resurfaced. Stuff like Stuart playing with his back to the audience, him not being a good bass player. Klaus Vormann will tell you that that's not true at all. Stuart could play. If Klaus says so, then who are we? We, as George Harrison would say, we weren't there. Klaus was, and still got a sharp memory. A brief tangent on Klaus. Another thing that, if I had to be anyone in the story of this group, I would probably be Klaus. I mean, think about it. It's like he knew Stuart. He got to see them before they were famous. He was a close, trusted friend of theirs. He got to design their album, what most people say is their best album. He designed the front cover of that. He got to play with the Hollies. So for me, he was in the Hollies for like 3 gigs or something. So for me, that's a bonus. He got to play on John's, George's and Ringo's solo albums. And he's still alive. He's still healthy. And he's still sharp. I would be, then all the others had some kind of tragedy upon them or curse or something. If I could be anyone in the story of this band, it would be Klaus. That's who I'd love to reincarnate as Klaus. That would be amazing. There's a guy alive, he's walking around, he's got a memory of what this band were like when there were 5 of them in Hamburg. Like, we can only dream of what that was like. There's no evidence whatsoever. He can physically remember seeing them, like in real life. He knows I don't even know what Stuart's voice sounds like. There is a recording that some fans alerted me to, and we think, oh my god, that might be Stuart singing that. So that is dead exciting if that's the case. So this box set idea, and it's like, and so if they were to make this, and they could have a replica of Love Me Do, they could have like Cavern Club membership thing, all the stuff that box sets have, the replicas of stuff, gig posters, stuff like that. And the massive, massive selling point to really entice fans to spend the money to get this stuff again would be the tape of them in the Cavern Club. What is it, about 40 minutes or something? I don't have it handy. Well, obviously I don't have the information about it handy. But it's a very famous, very easy to look up. Beatles Bible, Savage Young Beatles, anything like that. Beatles Source. You can just type Spring 1962 Cavern tape. It will come up. A set list will come up. Apparently, it's got a thing called "What's Your Name," which might be the Don and Juan doo-wop song. It's got "If You Gotta Make a Fool of Somebody," the James Ray song, which Freddie the Dreamer's covered. It's got "Hey Baby," the Bruce Channel song. Again, John on harmonica. Mark thinks that John wasn't playing harmonica on "If You Gotta Make a Fool of Somebody." It's got "Sharing You," George Harrison sings, the Bobby V song. And yeah, that could be the big selling point. So anyway, I've made one myself. I'm 21 minutes into this video, and I think do it yourself. And I've done this myself. I'm not saying this is definitive. I'm not making copies of it. I didn't even want to tell Beatles, band fans of this group about it. You know, it's like I wanted to be this. I've told close personal mates of mine, and a few of them are a bit, oh yeah, whatever. Even they're a bit sort of cool towards it, and some of them are like, wow, that's amazing. And I kind of expect that. I'm making it because I want it. That's all I care about. I don't care what I'm always going to be this outsider, and I don't want to join your little clique of people. I'm not interested in that. I just want it to be known that I think this way. These are my thoughts, and I'm putting it on my bootleg channel. If it gets picked up by fans of, or podcasters or whatever, if they hear about it, if people want to, then great. But really, I've made it for me. But there might be someone I've never met before who... A few people have commented on my Hollies video saying, oh, I wouldn't mind hearing about that. A guy called Jeremy, who does Beach Boys What If albums. And there's another Beach Boys guy called Steve, who, The Basement. These people don't have thousands and thousands of viewers, and I'm baffled about that. So, I've only got about, whatever. It's not about that. It's about quality. And the people who do sort of get my stuff, who hear my albums and comment on my Hollis things, are hi to you. You are legends, and you're watching this now. So just thanks for watching it. That's all I care about. It's amazing. It's a nice thing. There are other people in this world who think what I think. You know what I mean? And they're not the masses. And I love not being the masses. Actually, it's not. Who wants to be the masses? Certainly not me. I mean, do I look like I want to be the masses? You know what I mean? So, I've made one myself, and I have named it Always Be True. My friend Claire did a Photoshop so there are 5 of them. There are 5 of them on there. It's called Always Be True after the Mark Lewison chapter in Tune In. Now, I just love that because even in the 50s, when they were absolutely laughably terrible, and that 1960 tape, when they were god-awful, and why the hell, and people would laugh at them in Liverpool, people would laugh in their face. Even then, they had this idea about themselves, that they're just going to always do what they... And that's what I'm doing myself. It's like, I don't care about people who... You want to bash Mr. Moonlight, if you've got thousands and thousands of subscribers, if you think Beatles for Sale is, one of my favourite albums of all time, by the way, because my auntie from Trinidad got me it when I was 8 years old, and I still dream about the house she lived in High Wycombe, which was on these hills, and you can gaze out on the... at night time, the city was all lit up and that, and it was all double glazed windows, and it's really nice. And the bathroom was downstairs. It was like an upside down house, and it had all this sort of like iconic furniture design in it, stuff like that. She was from Trinidad, like my dad's from Trinidad. It's this whole thing. They got me Beatles for Sale, and I was 8 years old, and it is one of my favourite albums ever. And to grow up into this world where people slag that off and say you're an idiot for liking it, and it's like, F you, man, F you, you people who think Carnival of Light is some kind of lost Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds Marks. You're an idiot. F you if you think Yoko Ono is, brainwashed John, and if you think John beat women up, and if you think, you know, McCartney is like Jesus Christ our Lord and Saviour, there are 4 Beatles, or 5 I'm going to argue, but you know, Paul McCartney was one of a group of people. There's nothing more special about him than there is Ringo Starr or George Harrison, or, you know what I mean? It's like all the idiot fans who are, you know, sod all of you, you know what I mean? Sod all of you. You know what I'm saying? So I've made this always be true, and I've always liked that always be true thing to yourself, but it's a line in Love Me Do. I didn't even think, yeah, wait, it's just a line in Love Me Do. It's also a line in All My Loving. Paul repeated himself there. That's a whole other thing as well. Another one of the things I've sort of discovered. I like, just a brief tangent, John Lennon's falsetto, I think, is the secret weapon of the band who... of them, you know, and you almost never hear people talk about that. Like, and I've spotted things like that. So there are things I've noticed. The famous one about the photo, about how the first photo with Ringo was taken on the same date as the last photo of the band in 1969. A friend of mine discovered that. Like, that's now a famous podcast thing. But yeah, that was actually a friend of mine who discovered that. So this is what I've made, right? I got a box from a charity shop. It's like, you know, those classical records, classical albums, and you take just the empty box of the perfect size. I like the red and white thing. I like tuning. Red and white thing. I've called it a multi-format journey through 1962, from January to December. You open up the box. The first thing you see is replica of Merseybeat. You know, so I've done every time they appeared in Merseybeat, and I've made it into a book. There's George with the Black Eye, and there's Beatles Change Drummer, going through the Ashford photo. That's my favourite. If I found a photo of that one, autograph with them, but I'll get to autographs in a sec. The Bill Harry picture, that might be early 63 actually, but maybe the photo was taken at the end of 62. And the back cover, I've put 1962, the Beatles' year of achievement, which it was, 1962. 5 radio appearances, you know, EMI recording contract. They'd already recorded their first number one, you know. It's debatable whether Please Please Me was a number one on that, but no, this is how important the year 1962 was. They changed from leather to suits. They started the year with Pete. They ended the year with Ringo. They auditioned, they failed, they got a recording contract, they made a debut on radio and on television. 1962 is so important. Brief aside here, people who slag off the song Love Me Do, you've got to put yourself in the time that was made. You're a brand new group, you want to establish yourself, you do what's popular. Yeah, the Beatles will always be true and doing their own thing and that, but also they wanted a hit, so, and it's, give them credit for having a top 20 hit with a song that they wrote. What were popular at the time? The Everly Brothers, so let's do a song with Everly Brothers harmony on. Country and Western was big, you know, Joe Brown was like, I Remember You and stuff. So let's do a country and Western type of song. Harmonica was a big thing at the moment, you know, I Remember You by Frank Ifield and Hey Baby by Bruce. I say Bruce Channel, a lot of people say Bruce Chanel, I've always said Bruce Channel. You know, let's have a song with a harmonica on it, you know what I mean? And I've said the John and Paul singing like Everly Brothers harmonies and that. Love Me Do was a great song, it was great for that time, alright? You open it up, and then you see the Decca edition. Rather than press one, I got one, you can get this quite easily, because it had like the red and white theme on it. And the photo is actually from November 61, it's not from 62, but it's the closest we have. Because I don't think I've seen a photo of them in 62. They would already switched to suits by then. Oh, crikey, I'm on low battery. I'm going to try and get this done. I'm going to turn the brightness up a bit. I might just plug this in. Excuse me if I do. Clear vinyl. And again, a little red thing on the, you know, keeping the colour theme. I love the red and white colour theme. So yeah, that's the Decca audition. You don't need, there's a whole videos about that. You know what's on there. It's the whole thing. Next, I've put in the studio. I've got 2. Well, they're not really. You know, the order's going to go out the window here, but I've decided to get a 7-inch pressed called In the Studio with Pete Best, and a 10-inch pressed called In the Studio with Ringo Starr. So these are all the studio stuff they did with Pete, Sweet Georgia Brown, and a version of them with the vocal removed, Tony Sheridan's vocal. So it's just the Beatles on it, just the band on it. And I haven't had this pressed yet, but there's a company who make replica sleeves. You can probably see the flip back on there, and you explain what you want, and they do it for you. A nice, probably the only colour photo of Stuart. There's Tony Sheridan Stuart, and Astrid took this photo. It's got Stuart on it. I'm glad Stuart is, immortalised in this box set I've made. Best Me Mucho and Love Me Do. Now, there is a rumour of a third song existing. It was found amongst Jeff Emmerich's belongings. I temporarily can't remember which one out of Ask Me Why and P.S. I Love You. I hope it's P.S. I Love You, because we don't have a version with Pete playing that. They do Ask Me Why on the radio with Pete playing that. And the stereo, well, I put stereo here, the fake Parlophone replica logo, again sleeve, again flip backs on it. But you saw my Hollies album that I had made. What have I put on here? So 4th of September, How Do You Do It? P.S. I Love You. 11th of September, Please Please Me, the Andy White version. And then I've got like the Ringo version of Love Me Do. Now, has this got 3? I think there are 2 versions of Love Me Do on here, and the third one is on here. The Pete Best version's on there. And Please Please Me, the stereo mix had an alternative vocal, so I've included that on it as well. Again, I haven't had the record made yet. These are just empty sleeves, but they fit in the box set like that. So these, the CDs. So I'm going slightly out of order. The Pete Best broadcast, because I decided to base it on this nice thing came out on the Ava Editions label, which I quite like. I mean, they're not the best quality versions of this, but just to have it on a handy, again with the red and white, the staggered, lettering, that photo, and I've based the box set design on that. You see, because it's just handy to have. And is the label red and white? It's black and red, and it's got all of the Pete Best, the 2 radio appearances, each with 3 songs that he did with them, March and June 1962 there. Oh yeah, so here's the Ringo broadcast. For the front cover, I've chosen the Monty Lister photograph of the first ever interview. This I have had pressed. Now, have I done anything on the label? No, I've just put... I haven't. I mean, the guy who makes these now prints labels, so I should have, but for going forward, I'll have him print, Always Be True on the label or something. I'd love that. I have put on here, side 1, the interview with Monty Lister, the first ever radio interview. And then track 2, I've put there's audio excerpts, like all the audio we have of their TV appearances, where they do Some Other Guy, Love Me Do, A Taste of Honey, and Twist and Shout, which sounds like they're playing it on acoustic guitars, the plugged-in, the Gibson acoustics that they had. Side 2 is Here We Go, the whole thing, which a Ringo appearance, in decent quality, I must add. A fan taped it at home, but it's better quality than the Pete Best appearances, a Dream Baby and Picture of You and things like that. What do they do on that? They do Love Me Do, they do Taste of Honey, which is an unreleased song, and they do the extra verse, which they do in the Star Club as well, and P.S. I Love You. That's a great thing to have. That goes neatly with this. It's a companion piece for this. This, well, not official, it's grey market, but like a proper company, professional is what I mean. And this is amateur. Like, I made this, so the Ringo, and I tried to get them to copy it. The mono there, and the red, and on the back a picture of them. I've used a picture of them on a Granada show, I forget which. Oh, John's got a harmonica, so they're doing Love Me Do, obviously. I didn't put a sleeve note on it, but yeah, so those 2 go together in this box set. CDs now, so it's a multi-format, as I say. I've put the Beatles at the Cavern. I haven't pressed it yet, but all the stuff we know to exist from Cavern, and I was making the book and I had some pictures left over, so I've just sort of included them in it, really, as little cards, things to include in there. And you have Some Other Guy, the acetate version, the Granada version. You have Kansas City from that. There's an earlier Some Other Guy. Now, there's 3 different Bob Willett introductions. There's him going, "It's the Beatles." There's him going, "Okay, this is it. The Beatles sing Some Other Guy." And there's him going, "At this midday session at the Cavern, we proudly present the Beatles." But I could swear I have auditioned and obsessively listened to all the Some Other Guys from the original film, and I swear there is only one version of that. I swear there's only one take of that. And then the other take of them, they went back, that was in August, then they went back in September and recorded themselves again, redoing that song, and John goes, "We'll have to do it again," and that thing. I swear there's only 2 different takes of that, so I've included those on here. Haven't decided what I'm going to do with the Bob Wooler things. I might tack one of them onto the beginning of Kansas City, just to have 3 different ones there. And then filling it out, I've got the rehearsal then, which I think is a Mike McCartney tape. That got bootlegged in 1981. As I say, they're rehearsing. I saw her standing there, and there's still idiots who go, "Oh, it's Pete on drums," because it's not, or it's earlier in the year. It's not. It was just a new song that they were working out. You don't listen to them in Twickenham in 1969 in January when it's cold, when they're just working stuff, and say it's bad because they've only the first time they've tried those songs out. 2 versions of One After 909. You know, so you have if you're a Beatles fan, you've got a lot of versions of that song. I've given up. I'm saying Beatles now. We're into this video enough. And Cat's Walk, they do 2 takes of that. There's one where George goes diddle, and there's one where he goes da 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 da. So I prefer that one when he goes da 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 da. I can't remember which one's 1 and which one's 2, but that one over the da 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 one, right? And then Star Club, again, I just thought, well, I wanted to get one that had all of it on there, like a Lord Reith kind of thing. Lord Reith had a remastered one, didn't he? But I found one in Japan. It kept the red and white theme. I had to take the jewel case because it wouldn't fit in the box, sadly. So a picture of George there, they got jeans on, but this is like a Pete photo, but that's why there's only 3 of them at the front. You know, and a picture of a tape on the box and that. And it's got all of them, including the stuff, the king-size Taylor stuff after the Beatles had gone off stage. And it's got Cliff Bennett and stuff as well. But it's just like all of it. All of it circulating is on this CD. And it's keeping the sort of red and white theme. So that's just handy to have in there. I mean, I might make my own one and compile my own one. There's a channel I like. Oh, God, I'm so sorry. I've temporarily forgotten your name. Is it Fandy? I've been writing to him. And he graciously replies. He's done mixes of them where he's boosted the vocal. His things are brilliant. And I wouldn't mind like those pressed onto a disc. I love those. I think that's all the booklet is going to be this old giant thing. I've dedicated it for Stuart. I put the actual... I need to see what I put. I don't want to upset people. This whole 5th Beatle rubbish. I've done it for me, that. And I don't care what other people think about that. Or they don't think Stuart's important and laugh at him. We know the truth. We know the truth. We've got January, February, and March. There isn't actually a photo of them in January. I've used a bit of license there. The February, I've got the set list of them at the Oasis Club. I wish that it's square. It looks like it could be a CD or an album. Well, that would be so great if a tape of that existed, but it doesn't. But a few set lists from 1962 do survive. The first sort of photo shoot of them with suits on. What are we into March now? It's January, February, March. You turn the page. April, where they had the fan club thing and Pete's doing Peppermint Twist. I'll get to that. The Ashton photos, they just found out Stuart had died, and Ashton took these photos of George and John there. Absolutely brilliant. You turn the page. What are we into June yet? May and June, them in the Star Club, them coming back from Hamburg. I think they're with Bruce Channel there, actually. Great shot of John on stage. That's a great shot of John. Great one of him. Paul telling Pete how to play the drums. That'll bug people later on. George used to get upset by that. We all famously know that. Oh, nice Star Club in the background with the skyline in the background. They're in July. Are they on the riverboat there? I think they probably are. The Royal Iris, which... Yeah, they are, which I filmed some of my series on the Royal Iris before those idiots covered graffiti all over it. Absolute scumbags, those people. I mean, so I'm glad I got to film it before they did that. A great shot of them in August, so Pete Best stays in Unbud August. The first pictures of Ringo there. And then September, they had a great, almost the equivalent of the Mad Day Out from 1968. They had like loads of pictures taken all around Liverpool, around the docks and things, around bomb sites and stuff like that. Them on a ferry as well. Yes, some great ones there. September there's a lot of photos from that. It continues on to the next page because there are so many. And the next page, I got 4 pages out of September. It's amazing, including another photograph studio shot. That might be a guy called not the Peter Kay, but Peter Kay's studio. That might be his. What's October saying? Them at the Tower Ballroom, New Brighton. Them with Little Richard. So that's in there. And the Ashton photos of them with the antique chair are there. That's November. December, I've put the Bill Harry thing, the Mersey Beach sort of awards thing, with a reprint of the invitation to it. That's December, and then the back of it. That was from a site I swear by called Beatles Source, Savage Young Beatles, and it has an offshoot called Beatles Source. And just if you ever want to see, that's what I used to just stare at for ages and ages when I wanted to see early pictures of them. I'm going to attempt to plug this in. Amazing. No, I'm not. And the thing really finishing this off is a signed photo of Pete Best. Why not? Hey man, he was a Beatle. He was literally the guy on... He's the Beatle. And the picture of him in 62, a colour picture in the Star Club, you know, with that in the background, and he's autographed it in gold pens. So to have that in an actual Beatle having autographed this box set which I have made has just made it for me. That and it's Pete, and I'm glad it's Pete. You know what I mean? Like, you can never get a Beatles or... You know, you see on my Hollies thing how I collect their autographs and stuff. It's easy to do that. Beatles stuff is just so obvious a thing to do, and it's so expensive. I will never dream of having, like, that much money. I mean, as you can see, you know what I mean? It's just a far thing. And I wouldn't want to. It's probably... like forgeries, you know, that it's far likelier that a Beatles thing would be forged. You're not going to forge Pete Best's autograph. It makes it more special for this. You're not going to forge that. I mean, I have seen Holly's forgeries, a lot of ELO forgeries, but Monkeys too, but almost none. The Searchers, God, Dave D, but the other people like The Move and stuff like that. And the last thing, so I haven't got it yet. The last thing I want to include in the box set is some kind of footage. Now, so I talked about my age. It's important that this comes up. So for me, the DVD and the CD, to me, remain the ultimate format. I can't get into streaming at all. I mean, I love Get Back now. I'm watching it on DVD. I haven't finished it. And I'm pointing them on my DVD players over there, right? And I hated it when it was first on. And there's this channel called States and Kingdoms, who are my age. They're a brother and sister, and... they hated Get Back, and they made a video about it. It was one of the best things I ever saw in my life. It got so much negative comments that they deleted that video, and I thought that was a GD shame. I thought that was an MF shame. I'd love to see that again, but I like the video now, but at the time, I might do a whole other thing about why. You know, Peter Jackson has... Hold that thought. Footage. I was going to have a DVD, but maybe I'm going to have a USB stick of 1962 footage, and on that, I will include all the stuff that's circulating. There's a colour photo of them at the Floral Hall in... I'm going to get Southport and Stockport mixed up, aren't I? I know I am, but it's the earliest colour footage of them, and they've still got leather jackets on, and I stare at this thing, just dream about it, obsess about it, wish it had sound, wish there was more of it, wish I could see them as they were there, and all kinds of things. We've had this for about 15 years now, and I'm not saying it's not exciting. It is one of the greatest things that we could have as fans. For me, that is one of my favourite things ever. But Peter Jackson, man, he's going on about, hey, I've found this brand new exclusive thing that no one's ever heard of. And all these fans, all you, the ones who I'm having a go at, are all going, yeah, he's right. Oh, Peter Jackson, with your short trousers on, touch my crippled arm and make me better. And, you know, what the hell, man? And he goes, and this is brand new footage no one's ever heard of or seen. And I watched, and it was in the Now and Then video. And I'm like, everyone knows about this, don't they? I know about this. People know what people have seen this before. It's not new. It's not new. That's all. Well, it's not. It's 1962, but you know. Anyway, and so that was going to be on it. And them in the Cavern Club doing Some Other Guy, and a channel called Adam Bound has done this magnificent thing where he's taken the offcuts, the B-roll of Some Other Guy, and he's discovered what songs they're doing, and he's put Star Club audio over it, and I'm watching it going, oh my god, it's like finding new, unknown, unearthed Beatles. Now that is new and unknown and unearthed, that, like finding that information, and that's high level stuff. Adam Bound, his name is. Great channel. Although he did have the colour film of them in the Floral Hall, and he put the George Harrison song Dream When You're Feeling Blue, and he mistakenly thought it was another one that went dreamin', da da da, dreamin', whatever that song is, and it wasn't that. But that's okay, you can be forgiven for that. That's easy mistake to make. Yeah, he's brilliant, and he's put them doing like Where Have You Been All My Life and stuff, and what do? They do Money as well, although there's no Star Club version of Money, so he's put a Sweden version on it, a live version of it. But no, and it's brilliant, so I want to have that on it. There's a transcript of the Star Club audio, which some experts have listened to all the banter and they've put subtitles on it. Stuff I had no idea what they were saying, and it's brilliant. I wanted to put that on it. But there's things that so another thing that I've discovered again is They play Windy and Warm by Chet Atkins. Like, I heard that when I was a kid because I learnt it in school. A guitar teacher taught me that song in school. So I knew about that. And I thought, oh, George is playing Windy and Warm by Chet Atkins. No Beatles fan has spotted that I can see. John singing Speedy Gonzales by Pat Boone. Like, la, 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 la. He does like a bit of it. You know, that's not mentioned on the transcripts either. At least not on my copy of it. And another, so the big sort of piece for that was going to be, there are these Doctor Who fans who take photographs of the TV of episodes that have been wiped, but these photographs exist. Taken that, they've animated them, they've brought them to life, and they've put audio, which again, the audio survived. A fan taped it at home on a reel-to-reel. And I was going to do this with the songs Love Me Do and Please Please Me. There's no 1962 videos to those songs, and I thought I'd love to do that. And I've seen people do these AI things. Now let's talk about AI. AI has come up with 45 minutes into this video. I've finally brought up the dreaded. I'm not a modern guy at all. You know, where's my camera? Where are my lights? So this is all grainy and that. And I'm at that age where I can remember the old world, but I embrace the new world as well. I think everything has some sort of, cars have good things and they have bad things. You know, music has good things, it has bad things. You know what I mean? Anything you think of is good or bad. And this whole thing about people who are anti-AI, you can. I'm sort of in two minds about it. There's when they take old film, like silent film, and they slap that horrible purple filter on it. It makes me nauseous to look at. And then they say, we've coloured it in, it's in full colour now. No, it's not. And I'm sorry to say this, but that Hollies thing, that the Colour Me Pop thing, they did it with that. I thought they were going to... There's a channel I like called Carter's Remasters. I'm trying to name all the people I like and, you know, thank them for it. I'm friends of theirs. And all the YouTube channels I like. And he colours each bit individually, and the cymbals are gold, and John's hair is auburn, and George's guitar's like the right colour and that. And his videos are brilliant. His colorizations, which is an American word, colorizations are absolutely brilliant. And I wish that someone like that could have done the Hollies Colour Me Pop thing, rather than then just slap that horrible one colour, that tint on it. That, you know, that was disappointing about that, but it was great to have that. And they included the black and white anyway, so it's fine. It's fine. And what was I saying? Hang on, what was I? Yeah, so that's the whole AI thing. It has good, it has bad. All these people who make sketches of John Lennon and Elvis Presley with their arms around each other walking through the park and stuff that just never happened. I don't like all those fake posts of Paul McCartney singing to Phil Collins in a hospital bed, and people believe they're real, and you can tell, and they've got 5 fingers and stuff, 5, you know, and the thumb. I meant, you know, 6 fingers and things. You know, real fake, and Paul's playing right-handed, and crap like that is terrible. And George Harrison singing Oasis, stuff that never ever happened, or Muhammad Ali singing, you know, Judy Garland or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to plug this in. I'm worried about it. That is bad AI. But stuff that did actually legitimately happen. So one of the things I wanted to make... Well, the thing... Had this been real, then, like I say, the major selling point would have been the Cavern tape. But it's not real, so this is my version of it. So my major selling point, there'll always be truthing, the centrepiece of this thing, because people go, okay, it's all very well, but we've got Love Me Do, we've got BBC, we've got all these photos, or there's nothing exclusive in here, there's nothing we don't have. I like that it's all put together, and it's handy to have it all in one place. But what's the big box set selling point? All box sets need to have them. The whole point of buying a box set, to get something you can't get anywhere else, apart from the... Well, yeah, you can get a P-Best autograph, so yeah. And I was going to have, and I've made it, I've not printed it yet, I've not finished making it, but a thing called Always Be True, I'm going to say it, the AI reimaginings of songs that they did on stage, going back to what I was saying earlier about what they played. And they never got recordings of. I've been obsessed with this for as long as I can remember, like John Lennon singing Locomotion and Will You Love Me Tomorrow and stuff like that. I'd love to have heard that. I wish they got taped. They don't exist. They were never taped. The slow version of Please Please Me, I took a bit of liberties with that because they never even recorded that. Or the song Tip of My Tongue, which with Paul McCartney singing it. Again, they wrote it. I don't think they even demoed that or got as far as... They played it on stage, though. They played it at their gigs. And how do I talk about this? Okay, going back to 2009, a thing called Rock Band came out, and they isolated all the stems. And for me, it was like, because I'd heard all the. So again, I've talked about my age and what year things happened, and then it got to 2009. And it's like, well, I've got all the bootlegs, nothing new is coming out. And with Beatles, you just want more. It's not enough. Like, you feel really sad when it's over. Well, if you're a die-hard fan, anyway, yeah. It's like, oh, it's a shame that's finished. It's you know, they always leave you wanting more. The fact that they split up, they never reunited, you know, or in person anyway, and all this stuff about them. They never continued into the 70s, you know. After the breakup, the four of them weren't even in the same room. I mean, that is crazy. I mean, there are some debates about that, but for them, I think the consensus is they were never in the same room, the four of them, at the same time. The closest we got was a Ringo Starr album where all four of them are on that. They're just not all on the same track. Yeah, so when Rock Band came out, for me it was like new things. You hear just the isolated bass playing, the harmonies on their own, stuff like that. And I'd start to notice, oh, Ringo, that drum fill you can put in you know, Soldier Boy by the Shirelles, or, you know, Locomotion and things like that. That run that George would do a run on guitar, or they'd be playing. Oh, those chords, they're the same chords as Hey Baby by Bruce Channel, you know, and my brain would start hearing stuff like that. So I've made a whole album's worth of stuff, not using AI whatsoever, using the actual Beatles playing, and I've recreated all of these songs. And then for the vocals, so this is more recently. I'm not saying this in order really. I always thought you could do that in 2009, but I always wondered what the vocals. But how would you do the vocals? And I had this. There was this thing called Cassette Boy. The Cassette Boy's hilarious. He takes like politicians saying, "I am a stupid moron." You know, he cut and he splices it together. And I thought you could get you could get an interview of John Lennon and just take words out and go, "My Barney lies over the ocean." And we actually made some of these things, and they were so laughably bad that I don't even want to play them. They are laughably bad, these things. But that was how this started. A bit later on, a mate of mine and I made a thing of, we took Ringo Starr singing Think It Over by Buddy Holly, and we took Revolution, the 1968, and we sort of changed it around a bit to make it fit the Buddy Holly song, and we matched it together, and that was great to have all four Beatles singing Think It Over by Buddy Holly. It's one of my favourite songs ever, and I wish they did it. They did it in the 50s with John, Paul and George, like Paul and George standing either side with their right-handed and left-handed guitars that way. John standing in the middle with his arms on his shoulder, and they're going ba ba ba, and he's going, "Think it over what you just said." That's one that I wish got recorded and never did, but we made a sort of version of that, and that was brilliant. Again, this is before AI was even a thing, really. Right at the end of the world before AI, we made that organically, and it's just Beatles on it. And I'd love to sort of... Oh, I can't play it. I don't have it handy. I was going to play you some of it. Might I have it? Let's see if I have it. Have I got it? This is such a build-up, you know. Because I don't... People getting stuff taken down. Right, I don't know how... I have it. Right, listen to this. I don't know how much I can play without it. I mean... Because we've manipulated it enough to... I'll talk over it. Property of Queen Productions. Property of Queen Productions. Property of Queen Productions. Property of Queen Productions. You hear that? I haven't got the ba-ba-ba yet. Is your love real or only fun? You think it over. I think it over. And the guitar solo, I love that. Listen to that. Backwards guitar solo. And so on. I won't play too much of it because, yeah. Unfortunately, I've lost the thing that I was going to play. I've lost. I might still have it. Oh, I have. Yeah. And and then so AI got invented of people changing their voices and stuff like that, and it was very glitchy, it was very bitty, but I wanted to sort of do that for this. I thought, well, now it finally exists, but you couldn't get it at home, like, and then now you can. And then a channel, what he's called Panic, and I want to say he's gone all quiet now. And I paid for his like Patreon, and I never heard anything. And we were commenting a lot. I mean, I hope he's all right. And a famous one called Day Limbs, who makes uncanny Beach Boy stuff. Yeah, so I think if you're responsible with it, if you're saying it's AI, you're not trying to pass it off as unreleased stuff or lost. Then if you're responsible enough, but then that's saying that is wishful thinking, isn't it? But I know what I'm doing. Like, this is such a niche thing, and the guy I recorded with didn't want to do it because he is staunchly off it. Now I've made 3 albums with him, and like he's the one always saying to me, "Oh, you can't use those old USB sticks. They're obsolete. Oh, you got a tape recorder. What is that? Obsolete? Well, I'm not going to burn it on CD. No one has CD burners anymore. Obsolete. And he was as modern as they come. And then so I was surprised when he went. He was completely anti AI, and I thought, no, well, use the good part of it. And anyway, he took some convincing, but credit to him and kudos to him for indulging me in this thing I've made, Always Be True. And he said, okay, we did the backing tracks because they were organic. There was no AI whatsoever. Maybe some pitch bend or whatever, editing, cutting and pasting, but no actual AI. And then when it came to the vocals, I did that away from me. I said, well, you don't have to do any AI whatsoever. I'll go and do the vocals. And I trained the models myself. These are all my own models. I've got a John ballad voice, I've got a John shouty voice, which I'm so pleased with, because none of these AI people have been able to get the John shouty voice, and I've managed to get it, and I cannot believe that I have. But yeah, it's amazing. A few Paul voices. There's a Paul Till There Was You voice, a Paul Kansas City voice. George, it's not taking well to George. I'm disappointed about that. It's not taking well to George. I took the song Do You Want to Know a Secret. Maybe that's a bad song to use because he had a cold or whatever. And it's 1963 as well. If maybe I should take a 1962 George, because there's enough of him from Decca Audition, and retrain the George model. I'm working on George, but I love how Paul and John have come out. And I've put Pete Best on here, like him singing Boys, because there is a recording of him singing Boys and playing the drums. I don't know if it's Session Guy, but apparently it's him. Apparently it's Pete Best, so I've believed that it is. I've taken his vocal and his drums. I've taken the Please Please Me version, the Babs You Up, the Paul's bass, George's guitar solo. I've put it together and I've made Pete Best singing Boys as a member of the Beatles, and that hasn't used any AI whatsoever. I'm not going to play that because it has got it will sense the Please Please Me album cover. It will sense that. So, but I love how it turned out. There's a list that Brian Epstein typed of songs to prepare for the EMI test. And my original idea was to replicate that. Shall I just recreate that? Have that on the front cover? And they do, he's put George, list of songs. John, list of songs. Paul, list of songs. And then I went off that idea. But basically, I went through Tune In, the Mark Lewison book. And every time in the year 1962, Mark Lewison mentioned the title of a song, I wrote it down. And I think it's about 40 songs. And I thought, I've decided to pick 15 or something. I wanted the programme to be George, Paul, John. Paul, George, John, Paul, George, John. If you went to see them live, before all the mania and all the George only getting one song per album, George was an equal part of it, right? And the 3 of them would stand on stage and they'd sing a song each, a song each, a song each, like that. And they would go around like that. And it was amazing if you saw them live doing that. And don't tell me where is it? Okay, it might be a while to find this. So while I am trying to find it, I'll talk a bit about. My battery's dying out. Batteries nowadays, man. We have all this modern stuff, and it lasts for about. Well, this is a long video, to be fair. I'm just going to keep going. Anyone who is watching this, you have to really be interested in this. Like I say, I don't script these things. I don't jazz up my surroundings. I'm going to try and use the search, okay? No, I can't have any silence. Yeah, every time Mark Lewison mentioned a song title, I wrote it down on a list. And, right, 6th of August, that's when I will always be true. 16th of August, 28th of July, 23rd, 22nd of July, that's the earliest one. I've got it. 31 songs. So this is apparently all the titles of songs that were mentioned in that book that I was genuinely going to... And I've picked mine from this list. My Bonnie, John singing it. Dream, When You're Feeling Blue, brackets, as George says, brackets, George. Blue Skies, that was it, one I was trying to think of. Blue Skies. Is it Gene Kelly? Who is it? I love that old song, George Harrison. Dance in the Street by Gene Vincent, Paul McCartney. Peppermint Twist, Pete Best. Now, there's an unreleased Beatles song called Pinwheel Twist, which we now have, like, the lyrics written out, and I was going to have Pete speaking some of it over that, so that we at least have that song acknowledged. But that's like a lost sort of holy grail of, I'd love to have the full song of that, but sadly we don't have it. But this is, well, I don't want to say it's the next best thing. To me, it's the next best thing. Will You Love Me Tomorrow, which John sang. Mama Said, the old Shirelles thing. Mama said there'd be days like this. Paul McCartney. And John singing Boys. So John sang Boys as well. So Pete must have sung it before him. So maybe I've taken a bit of liberties having Pete singing it. But there we are. A weird thing. So this is Eurovision Song Contest thing by Jackie Lee and the Raindrops. It's called There's No One in the Whole Wide World. And no one knows who sang it. Which one of them sang it? Like, it could be John, because John would sing tender songs and surprise everyone. So it could be him. It's like a schmaltzy kind of song. So Paul could have sang it. But then George was a Bobby V fan. And Joe Brown. He was doing up to date stuff in the charts. So George could have sang it. We don't know. Matchbox, Pete Best singing it. If you got to make a fool of somebody, a thing by Buddy Knox called Open Your Loving Arms, which George sang, which I'm not too crazy about. So I tried to get into it and listen to it, and it's not and I don't know how I'd make a Beatles version of that. It's kind of skippy, kind of Adam Faith style, so I don't know how I'd do that. Maybe the drums from Sheik of Araby, maybe I'd use that to do it if I were to do it. What a Crazy World by George, the Joe Brown song. I made that using a picture of you, removing the vocal and doing it like that. Hey Baby, the Bruce Channel, which Paul sang, which I've started. Soldier Boy by the Shirelles. Now apparently John sang that and didn't change it. All this, I'll be your girl and I'll be true to you, you're the boy for me and stuff. And apparently John sang that. So that was Love Is a Swinging Thing, another Shirelles song. Again, I was going to get the drums from I Feel Fine and maybe the chords from I Dig Love by George Harrison, because it's da 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 da, that thing, da 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 da. That's from I Dig Love by George Harrison. He took it from this. Love Is a Swinging Thing. But again, I don't love the song enough to really devote again, I'll have to get into it. Swanee River. Now, there's apparently, that's one of the ones that the Beatles recorded with Tony Sheridan in Hamburg. The version we have is a Beat Brothers version. The Beatles version got lost, so I'd have to replicate that with Beatles instruments if I ever were to do it. Sharing You by George, the Bobby V song. Nobody But You by Paul McCartney. That's by the Lafayettes. John singing Hully Gully. Massive holy grail of mine. Paul McCartney singing Over the Rainbow, the Gene Vincent version. Man, I wish they could, but I've replicated that. I've used the song This Boy, and my brain does it. I can hear things go, oh, that's the same chord as this, and it works. I'm telling you, it works. It's amazing. The results have been amazing of that particular one. There's Tip of My Tongue, which I mentioned. The slow version of Please Please Me, which I've tried to make a version of that. I might have it pressed onto a single and have it in it with a fake part of a label, and I'll keep it in the box set with Tip of My Tongue on the B-side. I've made a fake press release as well, which I haven't had printed out yet. I was going to show you that. That would have been that's going to be a fun thing in this box set. Then they backed the pop singer Craig Douglas at a gig. And they did the songs Time and When My Little Girl Is Smiling, da 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 da, that thing. The Locomotion, massive holy grail on my John singing that, which I thought about taking Keep Your Hands Off My Baby and replicating it from that, and you get them on Twist and Shout going, come on baby, so you can kind of put that on it, and we tried it doing that, and that's the one I said had laughable results. Instead, I've taken the chords from Hold Me Tight, I think, and I've forgotten what drums I've used. Oh, the intro, the dun 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 dun, dun from Keep Your Hands Off My Baby. I think I've used that. I can't remember. I'll play you some of it in a sec. We're nearly at the end. Love Me Tender. So apparently, when they found out Stuart died in 1962, in April, John went on stage and sang Love Me Tender by Elvis Presley. So that counts. That's a 1962 song. Say Mama by Gene Vincent. That's an old thing he did earlier, but he did do it in 62 as well, or he brought it back. Say Mama, can I come out tonight? Da, 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 da. Again, one of the most overdone, over-recorded songs ever, but what I'd say, the Ray Charles thing, but apparently they did that in 62. I don't really want to... It's just kind of overdone, but it's easy to do if I wanted to do it. You know, the drums from I Feel Fine is how I would do it. And You Better Move On by John, the Arthur Alexander song. He sang that. How would you'd probably get the song Anna, I reckon, and make it from that. And the ones I picked out of that are as follows. That's good. I had one. Now I whittled it down to 20, and then I whittled it down to 12. Is it 15? Well, I've got 12 here. Again, this is and they're the program in this. Oh wait, I've got 15 here. Yeah, this is on. So 15 song. So always be true that AI reimaginings, as I'm calling it, is going to be comprised of this. Number 1, Nobody But You, Paul. Number 2, Blue Skies, George. Number 3, Will You Love Me Tomorrow, John. Go around again. Number 4, Dance in the Street, Paul. Number 5, What a Crazy World We're Living In, George. Number 6, My Bonnie, John. Number 7, Boys by Pete Best. Number 8, Hey Baby, Paul. Number 9, Dream, When You're Feeling Blue by George. Number 10, Locomotion by John. 11, Peppermint Twist by Pete, with a section of Pinwheel Twist in it. Number 12, Over the Rainbow, Paul. Number 13, Oh Hey Good Looking by George. Yeah, the Hank Williams song, George. Now, I thought that was 1963, but there is examples of him doing it in 62. I mean, eyewitness accounts, at least. Oh, there's a handwritten set list, so I was great to put that on. I took Some Other Guy and put George singing over that. The vocals are out of sync, sadly, so I won't embarrass myself by playing that. Peppermint Twist, Over the Rainbow, Hey Good Looking, and Hully Gully by John. The results of that have been amazing. I played that to some friends and they were like, whoa, that is amazing. And as a hidden track, I was going to have Fancy Me Chances, the thing from, they do it in Get Back, but that is a 1962 song that they did. So I was going to make a 1962 version, maybe take some stuff from Star Club and then take the vocals from Let It Be and put it on there, just as a bonus track. For fun, I did it more recently then. I decided to think, well, when you make box sets, don't you? You make the whole super duper duper deluxe version, you make the double version, and you make the single version. I thought, well, what's a standalone Beatles 1962 album made only of songs, titles, not different versions of things we already have? So, and my guide for this was things that they didn't put on BBC, Anthology, box sets, Past Masters, or any canon Beatles album ever again. And the other rule is they had to be already circulating among fans. Like what fans have got these circulating right now that you could make a legitimate Beatles album from? And it's exactly 20 songs. I mean, that's amazing how this worked. This Beatles coincidence thing, how this worked out. That'd be a good CD, 20 songs, or a vinyl. It could probably fit on a single vinyl. It'll probably be on a double vinyl with thicker grooves, I'd have thought. Or maybe a double 10-inch vinyl. And they are. From the Decca edition, 1, 2 and 3 are Take Good Care of My Baby, Love of the Loved and September in the Rain. Again, those are the only versions of those songs of the Decca edition. 4 and 5 are the BBC recordings of Dream Baby and A Picture of You. Again, they never did those at any other time. Number 6 was Sweet Georgia Brown, the Tony Sheridan recording, but that has got the Beatles playing on it. Number 7 was Cat's Walk from the Cavern Club, the rehearsal tape. And then again, that's the only recording of that Lennon McCartney song by the Beatles at that, in their whole timeline. And then the rest are all Star Club. I had number 8, Red Hot, which fans have made a fake complete version of this. Number 9 was Roadrunner. Now that was Roadrunner I had to really think about because it's so quiet and it's so brief and John is singing off mic. You'd have to really... the guy I mentioned, Fandy, earlier, I asked him if he could do anything with that and he said even he has the best AI going and even his couldn't detect John's vocal to clean it up, and he said he tried it. He did try it. Since then, it's probably improved, but I included it anyway. Roadrunner. You'd have to really make a fake complete version of that. Maybe use the guitar solo from Hippie Hippie Shake, but I'm determined. 10 and 11, Your Feet's Too Big, and Where Have You Been All My Life, again, only exist here. Reminiscing, the Buddy Holly song, number 12. Number 13 is Little Queenie by Chuck Berry, which Paul McCartney sings. 14 is Falling in Love Again, I Can't Help It, the Marlene Dietrich song, which Paul McCartney wrote his own words to it, so that includes it as a sort of an original, you know. Sheila by Tommy Rowe, which George sings. It sounds like John and Paul have gone off and it's only Ringo and George on here. There is a BBC version of that which sadly got lost, so I'd love to have heard a studio version. Same with Three Cool Cats, a Ringo version. Again, they did it on BBC and it never got transmitted and the tape got lost, so that's a damn shame. It would be great to have heard what Ringo would have done as opposed to the Decca version, which Pete did. Bebopaloola and Hallelujah I Love Her So. Now, one of them is Horst singing, and one of them is Horst's brother, Fred. And the Beatles are just backing bands, so you can debate whether you want to include those songs or not. But, oh, well, you're including Sweet Georgia Brown, and they're just backing band on that. So, yeah, include it. It's a recording of the Beatles, and they don't do Bebopaloola and Hallelujah... Oh, wait. They do Hallelujah I Love Her So. It's on Anthology 1, so do you include it? You probably wouldn't include that then. See, I mean, I'm not really going to make this album. This is just a fun list I made. Red Sails in the Sunset, one of my absolute favourite things ever, and that's the only recording of it. Shimmy Like Kate, the John thing, that's a brilliant thing as well. Fans would love a good quality version of that, but it was on. And I Remember You, the Frank Highfield song. That's number 20, the last song on it. Again, it's incomplete, but we have enough of it. And that's just a fun list I made. Those are the 20 songs which could make up Beatles 62, an actual, or Always Be True if you want to call it that, an actual album of just titles of songs the Beatles made. I tried to make a video of Love Me Do and Please Please Me. There are ones where you can make the lips move, and I've not been able to get those to work. They exist, and I want to, but I've turned the sound down actually because this will get blocked. Because I've made a sort of a medley of P.S. I Love You and Love Me Do, and it's like, what is that? 2 minutes 45 it is. And I've just taken some 1962 photos and made them move, basically. And have a look at this. Have a look at this. I've not uploaded this because, this will get a copyright strike. And I won't play on it. Look at that. Them on television. That's them on TV. Isn't that amazing? John playing harmonica. Isn't that amazing? George there. Some of this is so good. Some of it's laughable. Like it makes the... Oh, I love that one. That's a great one. Yep, Ringo in the cavern, is he? Yeah, he is hitting this. Another one of George there from there. A couple of friends of theirs. That was a recent photo. That George in Hamburg, Paula. Yeah, some of them, they move a bit funny. When they walk and stuff, I love that. Them in Astrid's flat. Oh, them at the airport. That's amazing. The airport one's brilliant. I'll have to show you that one again. And some of them, they move too funny or they move too modern. That's an alright one. That's the bad one. Some of them were so bad that them in EMI, them on the bomb site, you can see that. And some of them are so bad that they have like an extra arm and stuff, and they move too modern when they walk and stuff, and they look all modern like a boy band. But I like this one. I'm going to show you this one. If the thing disappears, I need the like not that one. Oh, that one's all right. Yeah, that. I love that. Can you see that? You see that? You see that's brilliant. Yeah, I love that one. Shall I turn this? There's another one of... I tried to get them doing P.S. I Love You with As I Write This Letter. John going, oh, send my love to you. Paul going, you know you want me to. Oh, I've just gone past a good one. Remember That I Always. And George going, yeah, but it didn't quite match. This one, that's a good one. The one of John in the car is amazing. Look at that. That one's amazing. The one of John in the car. And yeah, so I've just decided to make a generic montage kind of video, really, like not of them performing it, of just stuff that's good. With Ringo hitting the cymbal on "Love Me Do," that's good. I'll fast forward. There's a great one of them with the Liver building in the background. I had one of them on. Yeah, there's too many here. Where we've just got 20 seconds left. Okay, I'll just show you it. Yeah, that one. That's great. But I love the airport one. I love that one so much. That because there's almost no footage of them in '62, and I've done that. I have to explain about the albums I make. I see them as demos for like real musicians to they either hear it and go, "Oh, I see what he's doing." And if I ever go out on stage, like a proper piano player would play what a real piano player would, and a cello and saxophone and so on. So that's what I've done with this. Like, I've taken it upon myself to be the always be true guy, because no one else has done it. Because like, no one cares enough about 1962, and I think that's a damn shame. So hopefully someone sees it, like you know what Mark Lewison does with when he hopes that other researchers take on what he's found and improves on it. And that's what I'm not saying I'm as good as it. I'm just saying that's what I hope someone who really knows what they're doing and has the access to the best stuff, like the technology and that, will make a proper performance video of the song Love Me Do using 1962 photographs and PSI review and things, or make a slow Roy Orbison version of Please Please Me using only Beatles audio. And well, they can use AI vocals if they want. Let's see what I can get away with. You've all been dying to hear. You've all been dying to hear. So, I mean, if I were watching this, I would have been dying to hear this. Click on Always Be True. Bit of not locomotion. Tip of my tongue. See, some of these are still a bit glitchy. I've redone the. I'm going to play a bit of this. Now, what's the most recent? December 25. Right. Holy moly. I'll just play a few seconds of it. It's glitchy a bit. That vocal is from Till There Was You, the Decca version, and I used that to train my model of it. Yeah, did I finish that train of thought about the guy Panic? Yeah, the guy Day Limbs who does the Beach Boys stuff, and the guy Panic who does like what sort of Beatles versions of what's it called? Oh, this is good, Blue says Beatles version of Let It Be rehearsals, and that inspired me to do this thing I'm doing now. Here's a bit of Blue Skies. So that's September in the Rain. Georgia's not great. I'm working on it. Eyes. And I get to the chorus. Never seen the sun. That bit. This part. I hope this is coming out. It's too loud. Things. I'm trying to do a George impression there. George is laughable. I admit it. Hey man, I'm trying. At least I'm doing this. What's a really good one? Oh, I'll play a bit of Dream, because Dream I took from Why Can't You Love Me Again? You might recognise from the Polydor. I pitched it up to B. It's in A. Pitched it up to B. Removed the backing vocal. And here it comes. Look at the picture on it. Always be true. It's hard to get, George. I need to play a John one to sort of justify that. I know what I'll play. Alright, how about a bit of this? Alright. Here we go then. You recognise it's Like Dreamers Do. Except and so on. It took well to John, which is I'm relieved about. I wish the George was better. The Paul, there was never going to be a problem with Paul, is it? Because he's so overrepresented, Paul, and he's still alive and he's still touring, and it's kind of easier to. Now then, what was the other? Oh yeah, so this one has really sent friends of mine crazy. Oh, I'm in the wrong bit. Sorry about this. No. See, this is me trying to work out why. So I go to that. Here we are then. 4th of December. Hopefully this is it. Bounces. Alright, bit of this, bit of this, bit of this. Bit of this. So that's real Beatles instruments, that's not AI. But this is. Holly, Holly, golly. I haven't put that on yet. The accent's a bit funny. You got. I'll do a few more takes of it. I'll do. Yeah, round. It picks up my soft R's. Dance going round. I'll get to the. This one's a bit better. The next verse where they come. Paul and George are coming in. A bit glitchy. That came out well. That is the Hippie Hippie Shake dropped down to D. I've played enough of that. I've talked enough of that. 1 minute, 1 hour 20. That's Always Be True. So I am the Always Be True guy. I just wanted to make this so that there's some kind of did I do the side? Yeah, I did. Good, that, innit? Some kind of evidence of me talking about the Beatles that isn't me coming last in a bloody quiz with all my banter cut out. I don't want that to be the only thing in the world. I might have made a plonker of myself here, but I've done it on my terms and I've done it on my channel. 1 hour 20. That's Always Be True. There it is. I can't wait till I've finished this, and then I'll have it. One more look at all these. Look at all this here. Always Be True. The box set. Here it all is. The book, the glossy book. It's all there with a signed photo of Pete Best. One of the actual Beatles is in this. Thanks for indulging me in this. Again, I don't know who's going to see this or what, or if this even... But there it is, 1 hour 20. I've talked enough about it. Watch it on double speed. I'll tell you at the end. Watch it on double speed. I should have said that at the beginning. I'll put it in the... Nah, you can watch it on normal. You can watch it a bit at a time or not watch it at all. Whatever it is that'll please you is fine. Hare Krishna. Oh, wait, I didn't press... I pressed the wrong thing. Hare Krishna. Alright, Hare Rama then. Not just Hare Krishna, Hare Rama. Now I'm going to press stop.